Alrighty. If we can all just find our seats, we will get started. Wow, it got so quiet in here. Okay, so first of all, my name is Gus Penaranda. I am the Executive Director for the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce, and my responsibility today is to just address two issues. The second one is going to address why events like this one today are important and what you can accomplish when organizations and individuals get together and work at a common goal. The first thing that I need to do, though, is to mark the event itself. So for those of you that are from New Jersey and know the history of the League of Municipalities, it is a legislative event where all of the towns, villages, cities come together once a year to network, to talk about what's new in their town, what's working, what's not working, how to share resources, and to sometimes show off what they've been able to do in their communities. So after 107 years, through the blessing of Michael Serra, the head of the New Jersey League of Municipalities, this is now the official first LGBTQ+ Summit being held at the League of Municipalities. And if I can just, if you guys can just appease me for a moment, let's mark this moment by standing up and giving a round of applause for the fact that we are here marking history in New Jersey. These are all the organizations that are represented here today. Thank you very much. So, before we launch the summit, my second responsibility is to explain what the goal here today is for everyone. So, what we want to do is, we want to give an example of why this works. So about a little over a decade ago, about 34 organizations, all LGBT organizations throughout the country, including the islands of Hawaii, opened up and started doing community service, started practicing, teaching people that it's okay to be who you are, having events, and then, of course, sharing something that they all have in common. A few of those organizations got together online. The internet's amazing. And they said, we should get together once a year. We need to show everyone what we're doing because we can help people. We can help people that don't know or can't find their way or just need to know that there's someone out there like them. And they did this. And they said, you know what? Now that we've come together, let's create a common goal. And they did that. And what happened earlier this year is what working together, just meeting once a year, can be done by organizations and individuals.
For the Arizona Cardinals pick, I'm joined from representatives from the National Gay Football League, a great partner of the NFL, the Cardinals, and several other clubs. The Gay Football League fosters understanding, self-respect through their athletes' passion for the game of football. Joel Horton, who plays for the Arizona Arsenal, will be making the pick. Joel, it's all yours, babe.
Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Roger. With the 87th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Cameron Thomas, defensive end, San Diego State.
Local organizations throughout this country got together over 10 years ago. Then they got together once a year, and in 2022, this happened. The behemoth of all sports organizations who own a day of the week recognized an LGBTQ sports organization in front of the world. That's what an event like this can do, and that's why we did this summit with Garden State Equality, because this is the beginning in New Jersey and the neighboring states of what we can do when we work together. Thank you.
For well over a century, Atlantic City, New Jersey has captured the imagination of continuous waves of visitors. Evolving from America's playground in the 1920s, our coastal resort today is a premier international destination for meetings, events, leisure, and gaming. But there's much more to Atlantic City for visitors to discover. Life on our barrier island has a rhythm all its own that flows from timelessly surfing the tides of change. For our strong-willed people, human connections run as deep as the ocean waters that have forever lapped our shores. Our spirit of self-reliance and resilience creates an authentic sense of place and optimism that elevates the visitor experience. We are Atlantic City. Come discover the meaningful experiences that we believe in. Surrounded by nature and sustained by natural resources, we are committed to protecting the future, from harnessing the power of the wind to responsible farming. Atlantic City is a leader in sustainability, renewal, and regeneration. Beautifying our neighborhoods is another priority, as local and regional artists add to our acclaimed 48 Blocks mural program. Education is a future-forward priority, as Stockton University continues to reinvest in Atlantic City, while grassroots organizations such as Mud Girls Studios, which makes hope out of clay by training and employing disadvantaged women in the crafting of ceramics, are dedicated to improving lives. From local institutions and nationally recognized artisanal concepts to global cuisines, our thriving dining scene speaks for the heart and soul of Atlantic City hospitality. Atlantic City is for letting go and changing your perspective. Bike the boardwalk, cast a line, sharpen your skills, or head for the beach and let your dreams come alive. Whatever your purpose, Atlantic City welcomes one and all to our home, where our strength as a community, our support for each other, our ties to the land and sea, our spirit of perseverance, and our belief in the future makes even the smallest moments and memories feel larger than life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of MeetAC, Larry Sieg.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be here today, and on behalf of the entire team at MeetAC, which is the destination marketing organization for Atlantic City, as well as the Atlantic City Film Commission and the Atlantic City Sports Commission. I had the opportunity to meet Gus actually in Detroit, Michigan, not in Atlantic City, where we had dinner together, and we started to embark on this journey together, and we're really happy to be part of it. With me today is Howard Menvez from our Washington, D.C. office, who heads up most of our DEI initiatives. And we strongly believe in the values of diversity in our workforce. We strive to encourage diversity in our employees, in all of the clients that we work with. We value and respect individuals' differences, perspectives, and the skills and talents of the whole team. So we're committed to providing an environment, at least under my rule, that we are fair, we are safe, and equitable treatment for everyone. That's for sure. So I'm proud to stand here today as the very first openly gay president and CEO of a destination marketing organization. And when I go out to the schools and I speak to our LGBTQ youth today, here's what I tell them. Never be ashamed of who you are. Live inside your own truth. Be free, be productive, and a productive contributor not only to the business community, but also to your neighborhood community as well, and it will come back to you tenfold. Have a great conference, and thank you once again for visiting Atlantic City.
Thank you, Larry. Please welcome Deputy Director for Garden State Equality, Brielle Winslow Majet.
All right, good morning. And I'm so excited to be here at the first LGBTQ plus summit here at the League of Municipalities. So let's give another round of applause for that. I want to give a huge thank you to the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce for putting this on for us here. So we at Garden State Equality, we continuously strive to achieve lived equality for all through combating health disparities, implementing inclusive curriculum, and creating safe spaces for LGBTQ youth, and fighting for basic human rights through legislation. But it is your continued support that helps us push the needle forward in this movement. This year alone, there have been too many anti-LGBT bills introduced, but more importantly, this year alone, there have been way too many anti-LGBTQ bills passed across the nation. Just a week ago, my community, people in your communities, woke up on election day fearful that our basic rights would be challenged yet again. And some faced the pain of watching their loved ones vote against their basic rights to just exist authentically and fully. It was a reminder that politics are local. It was a reminder, a powerful one at that we all need to step up to the plate. We need to fight for LGBT rights. We need to fight for Black trans rights. We need to fight to protect LGBT youth. That is why this event is so important. The workshops that they have planned for you today span the fields of education, advocacy, business, and sports. And we are so grateful to the amazing facilitators who will create an atmosphere that we hope you find very informative. This summit was designed for all of you to continue to improve and ensure that future policymaking and programming is essential, relevant, and inclusive. And that the state of New Jersey continues to be progressive and also on the right side in this fight for equality. So once again, I'd like to welcome you and give a thank you to the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce for putting on this amazing educational and learning opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brielle. At this moment, we'd like to bring a representative up from the New Jersey Police Officers Liaison Program.
Good morning, folks. Gus, I can't believe you forgot my name. My name is Jeremy August. I don't know, Brielle, I don't know how you do it without reading. I got to read, so. My name is Jeremy August. I'm an out and proud correctional police officer for the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. I am honored and humbled to be invited to this event. This morning, I'm also filled with pride to represent the over 100 NJ LGBTQ law enforcement liaisons across the state as their Director of Communications. We currently have 47 agencies signed on to this program. This organization started with just 4 officers only a few years ago. Our law enforcement professionals have taken on the collateral duties of being an LGBTQ law enforcement liaison for their respective departments. Having a partnership with Garden State Equality and the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce sends a very loud and clear message to our LGBTQ residents, businesses, and visitors that here in New Jersey, all are welcome, all are safe, and we celebrate our unique diversity. The Safe Place program is in full swing in many counties and communities throughout our great state. Our mission is simple. First and foremost, community outreach. Rebuild the trust between the LGBTQ community and law enforcement. Second, as police administration across the country move forward with diversity and inclusion, we all have recognized the need to recruit and retain a diverse team who represent the diversity in the communities in which we serve. So we actively recruit qualified LGBTQ candidates to join our ranks. Rebuilding and protecting and serving our communities. Yep, I don't know. My bad. Finally, we're an internal support network for the LGBTQ law enforcement professionals and our allies. Being here for one another is huge when it comes to what we see on a daily basis. Remember, we're all in this world together. Let's help each other out, learn from each other, and most importantly, spread our love across the Garden State.
Thank you very much, Augie. Today's summit is sponsored by Comcast, and we are very happy to introduce the Director of Community Impact for Comcast, Inc., Kimberly Smith.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Terrific. This is a really nice-looking group. I have to give you all credit. You turned out this morning. Looks good. So good morning, and again, I'm very happy to be here today alongside representatives from the New Jersey Pride Chamber, Garden State Equality, MeetAC, and all of today's presenters. At Comcast, our commitment to diversity and fostering inclusion goes back to our founder, Ralph Roberts, and his vision to build a company where all employees feel safe and accepted, and where all ideas and perspectives are valued and respected. To ensure that dedication continues, we've set measurable goals against key priorities, including governance, programming, workforce and supplier diversity, and community investment. Those goals and initiatives are shaped by our close and long-standing partnerships with many of the nation's leading civil rights organizations, including organizations dedicated to LGBTQ+ equality, such as the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, the Human Rights Campaign, and of course the New Jersey Pride Chamber and Garden State Equality. As a result, we have a history of advocating for the advancement of LGBTQ+ rights that includes signing on to the Human Rights Campaign's business statement on anti-LGBTQ+ state legislation, and last year, joining the Business Coalition in support of the Equality Act. We also signed amicus briefs before the U.S. Supreme Court advancing non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ+ workers and promoting marriage equality in 2019 and 2015, respectively. We're also proud to have earned a top score of 100 on the Human Rights Campaign's 2022 Corporate Equality Index, and to have been named, thank you, and to have been named a best place to work for LGBTQ+ equality. So beyond advocacy and creating an equitable and inclusive workplace, as a leader in media and technology, we use our unique position to leverage platforms and share stories from the LGBTQ+ community. From our representation in front of and behind the cameras with NBC Universal, to our Xfinity LGBTQ film and TV collection, we're committed to giving our audiences experiences that celebrate Pride all year long. And today, we're happy to build on the support and advocacy that I just mentioned by joining you as a presenting sponsor of the first ever, I like that, it sounds better than inaugural, right? The first ever LGBTQ Summit at the New Jersey State League of Municipalities. So welcome, thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Hudson County Community College serves more than 18,000 credit and non-credit students annually. HCCC has 3 convenient locations: in the Journal Square neighborhood of Jersey City, a North Hudson campus in Union City, and the Secaucus Center at the Hudson County Schools of Technology. Our Foundation Art Collection's 2,000 works are displayed in every HCCC building. We offer nearly 90 degree and certificate programs across multiple disciplines. Our culinary arts and hospitality management program is nationally accredited and recognized. Innovative Hudson Helps and Hudson Scholars services focus on students' needs and their success. We have partnerships with major four-year colleges and universities in the greater New Jersey and New York area and beyond. Our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion has been recognized by several national programs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Hudson County Community College, Chris Reber.
Good morning, everyone. I'm humbled and honored to have this opportunity to speak with you this morning. I'm a proud member of the LGBTQ community. Throughout my 42-year career in higher education, I've been passionate about the central importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in higher education and in our society. And I'm particularly proud of the dynamic, respectful, inspirational, and trailblazing people at Hudson County Community College and throughout the communities and region we serve. It's the honor of my life to lead and support Hudson County Community College, where I'm currently in my 5th year as president. I thank Gus Penaranda, Christian Fuscarino, Stephen Blajewski, the NJPCC Chamber of Commerce, Blake Drummond, today's presenters, and everyone who's contributed to organizing this extraordinary first ever inaugural summit. If I may, I'd like to begin with a very personal story that I was asked to put into writing for a book on parenting a number of years ago. I want to give you some context for who I am and how I found my place and developed my passion as an LGBTQ educator and leader. I'm reading for the next few moments excerpts from my published story. My greatest regret in life is that when I was a young person, I didn't have the courage to admit to myself, or anyone else for that matter, that I was gay. It was a different time in the 1960s and 1970s, with gay people widely closeted in fear and trepidation. The world was hostile and nearly universally uninformed about what it means and how it happens to be gay. Nearly all who were gay in my childhood years in central Pennsylvania lived in constant fear that others would discover this terrible truth about them. Although my parents were both loving and supportive of my older brother and me in every way, I always doubted they would have been accepting of my sexual orientation. They both passed before I was ready to share this with them, so I'll never know. As a teenager and college student, I convinced myself that I was bisexual and committed to and fully capable of leading a heterosexual lifestyle. While an undergraduate at Dickinson College, I met one of the finest people I've ever known and loved, and we were eventually married. And during our 23-year marriage, Mary Kay and I enjoyed a more than comfortable lifestyle. We had very similar values and beliefs, enjoyed one another's company and doing things together. We eventually had 2 children, our son Jonathan and our daughter Catherine, whom we of course love unconditionally. But as time marched on and the years passed, it became increasingly difficult and eventually impossible to be someone I wasn't. I knew I was being unfair to Mary Kay and my kids by living a lie. The growing lack of intimacy in our marriage led to tension and brittleness that affected our kids and eventually every part of our life. After 23 years of marriage, Mary Kay and I made the long-dreaded decision to separate and divorce. Telling our kids, who were 10 and 8 at the time, was excruciating. We had to tell them we were divorcing, but they were too young to hear the core reason for this, that I was gay. We met as a family. Mary Kay and I told Jonathan and Catherine that we both loved them and that we always would, and that while I would be moving away, I would always be their dad and involved in their lives. Having this painful conversation and leaving my family was the lowest moment in my life. I lived and worked 90 minutes from the kids, and for the next 8 years, John and Catherine visited me on many weekends and holidays, and I attended school and other events in their hometown. But I was not with them, and I knew I was not being the kind of father that I wanted to be and that the kids deserved. Gradually, society became more accepting of the LGBT community, and I began to gain the courage to come out to those I loved and later to others. Following my nervous and rehearsed comments, Mary Kay calmly acknowledged to me that she knew this, she had known it for some time, and she was remarkably understanding and supportive. Had our roles been reversed, I doubt that I would have been so understanding. As the years passed, I increasingly agonized over when and how to tell my children, Jonathan and Catherine. How would they respond? Would they be embarrassed, ashamed? Would they stop seeing me, stop loving me? It felt like I was carrying a 1,000,000-pound weight on my shoulders as I lived and worked in deeply red Western Pennsylvania. Although I didn't plan the specific day on which I would tell the kids, a moment surfaced when I was with John, who was now 16, and the timing felt right, and John has had a history of significant challenge in his own life. My heart beating harder than I can ever remember, and with a painful sinking feeling in my stomach, I told him. I blurted it out, using the most sensitive and caring words I could muster, and I'll never forget John's response, which has forever changed my life. Dad, it doesn't matter. I love you, and I know how it feels when you are sometimes not understood by others. I later told Catherine, and her response was very similar. My kids' openness and love made it possible for me to become a whole person for the first time in my life, and hopefully a better father and a better human being. Today, Jonathan, Catherine, and Mary Kay are also close to my husband, Carrie, and we're all an extended, loving, non-traditional family, and I know that I am so blessed to have that opportunity and outcome. After telling the kids, I came out to my colleagues and friends who were eventually affirming and accepting, even though we worked in deep red Appalachia at that time. Coming out to my colleagues and community also taught me that leaders who are authentic and comfortable in their own skin are the best leaders. They're real people, and they are respected for being honest and truthful. And bringing honesty and visibility to this deeply personal truth opened the door for me to eventually seek a college presidency, something that I thought previously would never happen. According to Morris Massey, what you are now is where you were when. Like all stories, my story has shaped everything I am and all I strive to do as an educator and as a human being. My story has led me to be passionate about the work of promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in post-secondary education and in the lives of those we teach, serve, and love. It's about promoting acceptance, seeking understanding, and having genuine empathy, respect, and love for the specialness and dignity of every person. I strive to be a support and role model for others who may be struggling with sharing their story and their truth. Most of my career has been in 2-year and 4-year colleges and universities in Western Pennsylvania. Although I was enjoying a successful and meaningful presidency at Community College of Beaver County near Pittsburgh, I wanted to make one more move in my career to another world, to a place that's highly diverse, where I could support DEI from another angle, addressing the specific needs of diverse communities and helping leverage the pride we take in our diversity to achieve new levels of educational excellence, understanding, and outcomes. About 5 years ago, when I interviewed for the position of president of Hudson County Community College, I vividly remember entering a building for my first appointment. Immediately facing me as I entered the building lobby was a large gay pride flag. I instantly knew that I was home. And today our students have coined the phrase, "Hudson is home," which has become our college's motto and tagline. For the remaining few minutes, I want to speak about the power of education, specifically as it relates to the two overarching and guiding priorities of Hudson County Community College, and they are student success and diversity, equity, and inclusion. For attendees unfamiliar with Hudson County, the college has campuses in Jersey City, the most diverse city in the United States, and Union City, one of the most densely populated cities in the nation, as well as other sites throughout the county. I firmly believe that education is the greatest antidote to hatred and bigotry, and the true gateway to the American dream. It's not lost on me that Hudson County Community College is located in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty, which is a wonderful symbol and metaphor for our college mission. You'll see the image of Lady Liberty in all of our college's communications, website, and materials. My colleagues and friends at HCCC and throughout the statewide and national higher education sectors strive to make post-secondary education affordable and widely accessible in order to promote the intellectual, social, and economic development of our students and our communities. But accessibility isn't enough. As an open access institution, we must help students finish their studies, achieve their goals, and earn credentials that lead to transformational change. Not only are community colleges engines of social mobility and drivers of the economy, but their commitment to access and completion ensures that a college education is attainable for all. And from an economic development perspective, our colleges make it possible for many on public assistance to prepare for family-sustaining careers and become citizens who pay taxes and create a vitally needed skilled workforce. A too often, too little known fact, too often overlooked, is that at the end of the day, investing in community colleges creates net revenue for our communities and our nation. At Hudson County Community College, we're proud to offer an educational pathway for literally anyone who walks through our doors. We serve 18,000 students annually in credit programs and through continuing education and workforce development. We're proud that our high-performing graduates often transfer to great universities like Princeton, Rutgers, Stevens, Columbia, and NYU, to name just a few. Many of our students earn prestigious awards, such as the nationally competitive Jack Kent Cooke, Goldwater, New Century Transfer, and other scholarships. We have an open admission policy at HCCC. We don't select our students. They select us. Our mission is to serve every student who enters our doors, to meet students where they are and help them achieve their educational and life dreams. We don't expect our students to be college ready. Rather, we strive to ensure that our college is student ready. Our faculty, staff, and trustees consider themselves partners with students in their educational journeys. That requires us to be ever conscious of the needs and life barriers that can get in the way of our students finishing their programs and achieving their dreams. At Hudson County Community College, we have a collective laser focus on removing barriers in order to support students and their success. And the barriers are formidable. 80% of incoming first-time, full-time Hudson County Community College students place into English as a second language, developmental English, and/or developmental math, significantly delaying their time to completion. And frankly, time and the related expense of time are among the greatest barriers for our students. We're proud of our robust English as a second language program with about 1,000 students registered every semester. These students are diverse. Some have been here for many years, while others are recent immigrants. Some have advanced degrees from their home countries, while others lack basic grammar skills in their native tongue, and many speak little or no English. We have a remarkable number of students who start their college degrees not speaking English in an English-speaking institution. Many of our students are undocumented, many are DACA students. We're assiduously developing and refining programs and supports, including a new ESL proficiency certificate and various academic support interventions, such as boot camps and enrichment programs. We're reducing the time students spend in developmental education. At HCCC, we have a very successful program called the Educational Opportunity Fund, or EOF, in which students have assigned counselors who meet and engage with them regularly and receive financial stipends when they achieve academic milestones. Each year, we're grateful to receive funding from the state of New Jersey to serve about 200 of our most at-risk students. And in spite of the challenges to completing their degrees, the students in our EOF program, the most at-risk students in the community college with the highest number of at-risk students in New Jersey, these students are highly successful year after year. Since the retention of EOF students is significantly greater than the retention and completion of all other students, we recently used federal stimulus funding to test the efficacy of scaling the successful elements of the EOF program to many more students. We call this program Hudson Scholars. The retention and completion rates for our now 1,500 Hudson Scholars students are consistent with the very high rates of the EOF program. We've also seen a significant decrease in equity gaps among Hudson Scholars students, including African American and Latino students, as a result of the intrusive mentoring, coaching, early alert system, high-impact educational practices, financial stipends, and other successful elements of the program model. So our goal is to scale this program model to all of our students over the next few years. We're finding, very interestingly, that the revenue associated with the increased retention and enrollment of students in this program more than covers the significant investment of added staff, financial stipends, and other costs of delivering this program. As we seek to address the needs of the whole student, we're intently focusing on expanding our culture of care. Our Hudson Helps Resource Center provides holistic services that address students' basic needs outside of the classroom. Temple University's Hope Center surveyed our students twice over the last 3 years, revealing that as many as 2/3 to 3/4 of our students report challenges of food insecurity, housing insecurity, and/or homelessness. We have students who are homeless while attending college. We've come to recognize as a community and an institution that these challenges of our students are at the same time institutional challenges, as our mission focuses on helping students succeed. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't care how much tutoring and study assistance a student receives, if they can't feed their children, and if they don't know where they're sleeping tonight, they're likely not to succeed. And that has to become part of our mission. So Hudson Helps is a compendium of wraparound services to help students navigate basic life needs that otherwise too often derail a student's educational journey. Hudson Helps provides emergency funding assistance, food pantries, clothing closets, mental health and social work counseling, external agency services such as SNAP funding, application assistance, single-stop technology that helps students identify funding resources they may not know about, tax preparation assistance, and much, much more. In concert, these and other initiatives at all levels of our college have significantly increased our students' retention, completion, transfer, and gainful employment outcomes, and the needle continues to move on these mission-centric metrics and outcomes. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is our other guiding principle, and it's interrelated with and integrated into our focus on student success. At Hudson County Community College, we're proud of our organizational culture that recognizes our differences, builds on our commonalities, and celebrates both. We work tirelessly to ensure that every student and employee representing every group or demographic is respected and celebrated. We provide myriad opportunities to look deeper and engage each other in safe spaces. Indeed, we tell our stories, we share our stories, and in so doing, we support one another in often inspirational and life-changing ways. One of my personal heroes, Mr. Rogers, once said, "There's no one you couldn't love if you knew their whole story." At Hudson County Community College, We started our DEI journey by creating the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the fall of 2019. PAC Day, as it's come to be known, is comprised of about 40 trustees, administrators, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and community representatives. In the beginning, PAC Day conducted an anonymous, nationally normed climate survey completed by 800 members of our HCCC community, including students, faculty, staff, and trustees. And this community-wide input from the survey led to the development of our first DEI action plan. At PAC Day's recommendation, we've created the position of Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, a cabinet-level leader reporting to the President, and we've appointed additional DEI professional and support staff. Very importantly, these resources and supports in which we are investing are sustaining and expanding the work and dreams of the college community. It's not just top-down, it's sustaining organic work that's happening throughout the college. Truthfully, DEI has galvanized all members of our college family. We're very proud of our strong local partnerships with organizations such as Jersey City Pride, Women Rising, the New Jersey Office of Diversity and Inclusion, Save Latin America, New Jersey Reentry Corporation, our Latino Advisory Council, African American Outreach Committee, and so many others. We've partnered with Cornell University to offer their nationally recognized eCornell Diversity and Inclusion Certificate Program to over 150 Hudson County Community College students, faculty, and staff. We've partnered with the Association of College and University Educators, or ACU, to offer ongoing best practice instructional and other professional development that's anchored to principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We offer gender equity and Title IX immersion training to all of our students and faculty in various modalities and settings. Over 1,000 community members have participated to date. Our staff and students have created an in-house student leadership development program focusing on DEI concepts like unconscious bias, inclusion, and social justice. With leadership and support from PAC Day, we're developing and updating college-wide policies and procedures as part of our continuing work to remove barriers and promote inclusion. These include a new children on campus policy and, very importantly, a preferred name policy, among many others. To conclude, none of this would be possible without the strong and authentic support and commitment of the board and college leadership. Support for DEI is ironclad at the top of the organization and in our budgeting and the delivery of our mission. But equally, and I would add, more important, our college community is fully engaged in and owns this work. And nearly to a person, our community champions and supports DEI as a guiding principle and organizational priority. So this bottom-up, organic, grassroots engagement of the entire college community is essential to meaningful reform and the integration of diversity, equity, and inclusion principles and practices into every part of the institutional fabric and culture. At Hudson County Community College, we're enormously proud to have support at the top and widespread ground-up engagement throughout the college. And we're proud to have been named a top college for diversity by Insight into Diversity magazine and a great college to work for by Modern Think and the Chronicle of Higher Education. Thank you so much for the honor of telling my story and sharing my thoughts with you today, and for all you do to serve the citizens of our great state and our diverse and caring communities and municipalities. Enjoy the rest of the summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. At this time, I'd like to bring out 100's athlete, Brian Ruby.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Thank you for having me. Before we start, I guess I have a confession to make. I'm not from New Jersey. I grew up right across the river in PA, the Philly area. We got any Phillies fans in the house? Okay, a couple. So I grew up in the Philly area and was a baseball player, still am. Grew up dreaming of playing for the Phillies, being a major leaguer, and at around age 13 or 14, I realized I was different than my teammates, realized I was gay. And I turned on the TV every night, watched the Phillies games, and always longed to see someone like me represented on TV. They say if you can see it, you can be it. I think there was a Michelle Obama quote. That never happened. There's never been an active major league player playing out and proud in baseball. So I came out to my friends and family at age 21 while in college, and was actually out to my teammates as well in college. And I always aspired to play professionally, and was told by my coaches that if you come out publicly, if you ever post that picture with your partner on Instagram or Facebook, you'll never ever get a job again in baseball. And that was my dream. So it was really at odds for a while. Fast forward a couple years, 2021, summer 2021, I'm getting ready to get out there for the season, and I went to, for the first time, to Christmas at my partner Max's parents' house. It was a big life moment. Finally met someone, we fell in love, got to go over and meet the parents for Christmas. Huge moment. And we took this beautiful picture under the Christmas tree, me, him, and his mom. And I opened up my phone to post it. And I thought, oh my God, if I post this picture, I'm never going to have a job again. And I didn't post it. And that really, really ate at me for months, feeling like finally I was in a place in my personal life where I was in love. I was finally comfortable with who I am. For years I hated who I am, how I felt inside, all those things that we struggle with as young people in the queer community. And I finally got to a place where I loved who I was, but I felt like I couldn't tell the world. So that summer I finally decided, it's time. And I came out publicly. I think they maybe screenshotted the article up there. But became the only active pro player out and proud in baseball. And about a month afterwards, started up a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. I'm wearing the shirt today called Proud to Be in Baseball. Thank you. The whole reason I started the nonprofit was before I came out, I Googled the phrase gay baseball player, and I couldn't find a single person like me that was actively playing. And then I came out that day and was on the news and woke up the next morning. And usually I'm excited if somebody texts me. I wake up and that morning I woke up and I had 6,000 notifications on my phone. And I realized there are a ton of people in this community, and somebody needs to form it in baseball. There are 16 million people that play baseball in the U.S. alone, millions more overseas. So, we're talking, statistically speaking, we're talking tens of thousands at least that are in the queer community, let alone coaches, athletic trainers, people who sell tickets, people who sell cotton candy in the stands, the fans. So we started this nonprofit called Proud to Be in Baseball, and over the course of the past year, we have traveled around the country and around the world. I've been to 6 different countries over the summer, as well as a 52,000-mile road trip around the U.S., speaking to young athletes, high schools, colleges, businesses, going to pride parades, going to pride nights. I don't know if anybody's ever been to a Phillies pride night. I don't know. A couple. We actually weren't at Phillies, but we were at a whole bunch of other ones. But we sort of asked, what can we do to do a little bit to make the environment better, especially in this day and age when everybody at least knows someone in the LGBTQ plus community. This speech is a little different than the ones that I usually give when I'm talking to young athletes. I usually start with saying, raise your hand if you know someone in the LGBTQ plus community. Everybody, without a doubt, every place, everybody raises their hand. We're at a different point than we were 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. So, you know, in terms of what we can do here, this is a different audience than I'm used to speaking to. Everybody has their own niche in what they're good at. I would just say, be the person you needed to see as a kid. They say if you can see it, you can be it. You know, Michelle Obama. And be someone your younger self would be proud of. If you're interested in talking to me, I'm going to be here all day. We bring our nonprofit on the road. We're already setting up events for next summer, next spring and summer, going to speak at different places, doing Pride Nights. If you want to bring our nonprofit, we would be happy to come. We've actually never done an event in South Jersey. We've done one in North Jersey in Montclair, but we would love to get out there. I know that I grew up coming to the Jersey Shore. My grandparents would take us to Ventnor and then to Long Beach Island. So it's been a couple years since I've been in Atlantic City, but it's really good to be back. You know, be someone your younger self would be proud of. Do something, one little thing. You never know who's watching. You know, it could be a young baseball player like watching me, or a young person in your community. And each one of us has a chance. You know, we have a platform. We have this thing. You know, our nonprofit organization, we can connect kids. We just did an event with the Matthew Shepard Foundation in out west. We can connect a kid in Laramie, Wyoming, with a kid in Atlantic City, or Nashville, where I live now, or Venezuela. You know, it's amazing what we can do. There's a thing that the Sports Equality Foundation is about to start up called the Mighty Network, where we're hoping to partner, and I'm going to let them talk about it a little bit. It's a nice little segue. But, you know, we have the internet. We have widespread acceptance in many places, not every place, but acceptance of LGBTQ plus people. So it really is a unique time where we're at right now, and each one of us has a chance to do that little thing, you know, to help make the environment better for that next generation of people who's coming up. So I'll be around. Come say hi. Would love to meet everybody. And thank you, Gus, for bringing me in. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Please welcome founding board member for Sports Equality Foundation, Robert Goldman, and founder, CJK Inc. and Sports Equality Foundation board member, Catherine Kelly.
Good morning. We're going to change it up. You're all over here. Hi. Hi, people over here. How are you? And not to leave you out over here, but you were all over here earlier. So, thank you, Jake. He's going to tell me. I said, give me the clicker so I can be in control. Tells you a little bit about us. I'm Robert Goldman. I'm one of the co-founding board members for the Sports Equality Foundation. My good buddy here, Catherine Kelly, also. We're going to split and spend a little time with you to talk about sports, the impact of sports, things with us at the Sports Equality Foundation, and some work that goes on. Where I want to start, really, is all of you being in the room today is a start. We're at the starting line. We're always at the starting line, it feels like. We start to run the race, we run, we're back at the starting line. But the thing about gay sports, gay athletes, athletes in general, this community, is we're always ready to be at the starting line and run again. I love this quote from Nelson Mandela. When you think about sports, when you think about your team, when you think about the Olympics, those moments of people uniting and being around something, I mean, sports fans, we all get a little intense. I was in Philly yesterday. I'm sorry, I was there. I was just visiting. I live in Oregon. I came out to go get coffee, and I was like, oh, there must be a football game today. I should probably go get like one of those green shirts so I fit in, because that's what it felt like. Everybody gets excited. I don't even know how the outcome It didn't go in their favor, did it? No. That other team with a W and a new weird name made it, right? Anyway, the point here is that sports throughout the community threads itself in a way that allows us to connect, be connected, find our heroes, inspire, and create space for everyone. Brian is a beautiful example of some of the work there and the inspiring work that he continues to lead in the space that he has. Here's a great example of athletes. Some of them you know, some of them you don't. Professional athletes and athletes who play recreational sports in the LGBTQIA community, all of which have impact in the work that they do. But the thing that we were talking about at coffee this morning is I'd like to say they're athletes who are gay and stop saying they're gay athletes. Let's change the narrative and lead with the example of who they are and what they are. I also was sharing this morning, I was at the Women's World Cup in Vancouver, sitting in the stands, and a little girl came up. She had been out on the concourse, sat down with her mom and dad, and said, "Oh my God, I just met Abby's wife." And my head, I literally I turned my ear because I wanted to hear the conversation. Because for this little girl, that was just Abby's wife. No different, nothing else. And the parents were like, "How was she? Was she nice? She was so excited. Change in a space that you would have not made have thought would happen is happening and is coming." I just had Gus asked me to talk about this, so I even actually dug this shoe out to match the slide for you, Gus. I spent 23 years at Nike. I just retired. And in that 23 years, I had the great opportunity of leading this work. A company who leads, has a tagline of "there is no finish line," had been doing the work for years within the LGBT community. Nike had a continuous score for over 13 plus years on the HRC's Corporate Equality Index. They had led the space in many areas for their employees, but they were never out, if that makes sense. In 2012, we had the opportunity to present to senior leadership Be True. Be True was about ending homophobia in sports. That's a fun one to go present to the CEO of a major company. Hey, let's do this. But what it did over the course of the next 9 to 10 years was it did exactly that. It changed the conversation in the corporate space, and I'm looking at my friend at Comcast, on how to lead by example, give back to the community, but the biggest thing, to let the athletes be who they were. We had the unique opportunity, and as I told Brian this morning, the golden rainbow hit when Jason, Brittany, and Robbie, pretty much all around the same timeline, came out. That one picture of Jason changed the course of the conversation for everything. It defined the space of sports with faces and names of athletes people knew. They were able to just at that point be who they were, which was the actual foundation of what Be True was about. I've had plenty and many conversations with Billy Beane, who we all know in Major League Baseball, about when he was playing and the times that he stood out on the field, concentrating on the game, but worrying about what people might be thinking in the stands, and not being able to be truly who he was. This is the course and the reason that this work came about and continued to drive things forward. In that work, we had the opportunity, and I know Christian was in here earlier, it's where we actually met, of creating what was called the LGBTQ Sports Summit. Every year in Portland, during Pride, we would bring hundreds of athletes, coaches, trainers, folks in the media, folks that worked in the nonprofit spaces, to Portland, to do the work together, to coalesce, to talk about the work, to do things like this, have an opportunity to meet each other, talk about what they can do. From that, as you can see from the photos, clearly the impact was huge. And those relationships have gone on and on and on for the work to continue to be done. The impact of what was just once a small idea around selling some shoes with some rainbows on them was more about connecting with a community and connecting with athletes than it has ever or was about selling product. The point here for me, and for all of us here, is just starting the conversation within your city, within your town, within your village. I've learned there's many things in New Jersey that I don't know about when I come from the West Coast, so I'm like, lots of things, is what will help connect everyone and make everyone feel that they're connected together. From that, we have now founded the Sports Equality Foundation. Similar people involved, mission, vision, it's about serving athletes for the love of sports, because that's what we all love. And at the end of the day, we were able to set up, using those, the L, the O, the V, and the E, some pillars for us on how we will connect with the communities and give back. We have a membership of thousands of athletes, coaches, and trainers between the Equality Coaching Alliance and Go Athletes and ourselves, and future work with folks like Brian and other organizations to drive this work forward. From that, it brings us to a new space, and Catherine is going to talk to you a lot about how you can take this idea and apply it to the work that you do.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah.
You're going to stay up here next to me and look weird and just stand there while I talk this time? I have to use my notes. I'm not as seasoned speaker as my buddy over there. Just know that when LGBT athletes want to play, they want to play in safe spaces with individuals that are like them. There are people that are competitive, that played organized sports in high school, and then there's people like me who didn't and play for fun. All of those people get together and for networking and socialization, and most of them play because they play in multiple sports. They play softball, they're softballers, they're bowlers, okay? And then the business of LGBT sports, so supporting LGBT sports is good for business because it aligns strategically, right? A lot of you are trying to get your DEI marks up, so aligning with sports is non-controversial. It's among one of the top ways to impact LGBT consumers. It allows direct access to those consumers. 74% of athletes, of LGBT adults are likely considered brands that support the LGBT community and support their common causes. It also builds brand loyalty. 7 out of 10 LGBT adults are likely to remain loyal. Even if a brand costs more somewhere else, or costs less somewhere else, they're gonna be loyal to your brand if you to support their causes. And then it also strengthens the community, so it's good business. There's also several ways to activate when you're with these sports communities. Here we have some of the, because I was involved in NAGA, which was one of the largest sporting events in the world, actually, for a single sport. We've had the Be True, NAGA, Nissan, Prudential. They're allowed to activate in many ways. Your name can be out there in front of your consumers however you want, however it matches up and aligns with your business needs. And then LGBT sports has a positive impact on tourism as well. And I think that's why you guys are here, right? So the larger sporting events have a direct impact of $5 to $7+ million. I know that NAGA is right in that $7 to $9 million. That's a direct impact that happens in a 10-day span, okay? The indirect spend that Monica predicted from the Dallas World Series in 2022, and Monica is the person that's in charge of travel and tourism for Visit Dallas, 16 million was the indirect impact that she had predicted, and I think it came pretty close to that. I think they ended up with 14. I lost my place, sorry. When I talk money, I forget things. But as long as, so those that have come and they feel safe, they feel welcome, they're gonna come back as leisure tourists as well. So that's a great point there. And then athletes are also shoppers, drinkers, diners, drinkers. I can tell you so many bars and restaurants that we went to in all the sporting events that I've been involved in just are overwhelmed by the liquor bill. But hey, that's what adults do when they're bored. And then once one sport goes, a lot of other sports follow. I was amazed how many Memorial Day tournaments that we had, the Naga Cup, that Nagva, which is the gay volleyball, was in the same hotel, just at different locations that we didn't know, and they were right there in the same city at the same time. It was pretty fun. Okay. So how you can attract some of the LGBT sports to your cities. Having a high municipal equality index. Does everybody know what that is from the Human Rights Campaign? There are several cities in Jersey that have 100%. Hoboken, Jersey City, Montclair, Princeton, all have 100. There's some that have 90, 95, and there's some in the 60s that could do some work. But the thing is, they started doing it, right? They're proud enough of what they're doing in their city that they're filling out the impact report, right? So there's room for growth, but it's a positive thing. Promoting statewide culture of inclusion and touting those corporations that obtain and maintain a CEI. Not to say anything about Comcast, but you're not based here, so these are the only top 10 largest corporations, I think, in New Jersey. So here's some of them. Johnson & Johnson. I missed the first one because I don't know how to pronounce it. Anybody? There you go. You know who they are. And Merck, that's an easy one. All right. And then it would really help if, and the state I know has done this because now HRC's come out with an SEI, which is a state economic impact, and they're enhancing, it would be great if you guys could enhance your non-discrimination laws. I know Jersey's working on some things. And then increasing protections for LGBT individuals, parents, and youth. You'd think that's weird that sports people would do that, but we're still LGBT at heart. We still want to go to a safe and welcoming environment. And so that's what we need, and that's what we need from cities across the country. You're welcoming, we usually come, so it's great. So what's next for all of us? Let's get connected and start a conversation. We'll be here all afternoon. So if you need us, just come find us. Thanks. Rush through it.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to all the speakers. So at this time, we are going to have the 2 breakout sessions. So I know some of you were confused. So the advocacy breakout session talking about transgender data in the state of New Jersey is in the ballroom downstairs. Just take the escalator down and then take the other escalator down. The sign is in front. And then the financial literacy panel is here in this ballroom. So we will now break from the live stream and then go choose our breakout sessions. Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the breakout session today. So welcome, and thank you all for coming to our breakout session regarding financial literacy and how to navigate through a recession. My name is Stephanie Locker, and I'm the board director of the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce, where I oversee supplier diversity and certification. So in my role, I often hear that diverse suppliers just don't have the capacity to do business with larger organizations. So it's part of our mission as a chamber to really provide the tools and the resources to help diverse-owned companies and the individuals within them. So today, with the program that we have today, the intent is to build financial capacity of the individuals and business owners. So we'll start off today with some presentations that dive deeper into the topics around finances. Then we'll move into a panel. We want you guys to have a really dynamic breakout session today, so feel free to ask questions. We'll have Q&A after each presentation and also after the panels. But we really want you to be engaged. So we're going to start off the presentations with John Traer. I'll give you a little background about him, because he's a seasoned guy, but he's also on the board of directors of the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce. So John is a certified public accountant. He's licensed in New Jersey, and he owns a accounting firm, John M. Trayer and Associates. He's been on the board since 2014 for the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce, and he graduated with his bachelor's in economics from Rutgers. He also got his MBA in accounting from Rutgers, and he is a Deloitte alumni. And he served as the acting commission of the New Jersey the New Jersey Department of Banking, and then also the director of Division of Banking. So come on up, John. You want to start your presentation?
Welcome, everyone. I'm very proud that all of you have decided to forego advocacy and cannabis. I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'm
my
short.
pal. So let me just begin with the fact that when the Constitution was being completed and framed, I heard Ben Franklin say that this Constitution will show its durability and its importance. But, you know, it may not be perfect because the only two things that we can count on in life is death and taxes. And I'm bringing you today where those two meet, death and taxes. You know, let me give you first slide. Why are we talking about estate planning? Why are we talking about asset preservation? It's a much younger group here. I don't see anybody here that looks like it's, you know, near the end of the line. But there's the decisions that you can make in your relationship and in your relationship with others that will make a very big difference. And one of the things that I have learned more than anything, and can I get the next slide? You know, importance of estate planning, you may say, well, why is it important? The federal exemption is so extremely high. I don't think many of us in this room have a, $13 million estate. And the New Jersey estate taxes went out in 2018. So why are we even talking about this? And I'll explain to you why. Next slide, because we have this ugly thing called the New Jersey Inheritance and Estate Tax. It is a really regressive tax, and almost no one knows that it exists, the common person, unless you have an estate planning attorney. And many people who don't have a tremendous amount of assets do not have an estate planning attorney. So they fall victim to this. So let me give you a little history about it, first of all. It started back in the 1850s. And it taxed estates pretty much to everyone except the surviving spouse. And that's the way it stood. You know, the rates went up with the amount of assets that were taxable went up with inflation over the years, but they didn't really make a significant change in this until 1982, when a bipartisan group in the legislature, as well as Governor Kane, decided that we need to make some changes to this tax. So on the next slide, this tax is given based on what class you are to the deceased. Now, I'm talking New Jersey now. This is not a multi-state, presentation. This is New Jersey. But the only group that is exempt from tax are direct descendants. So your father, mother, spouse, civil union partner, domestic partner, child or children of the decedent, adopted child or children of the decedent, issue of any child or legally adopted child of the decedent, and the stepchild. It includes stepchildren. That's it. Those are the only people exempted from the tax. So you can have a relatively small estate in today's standards and really get walloped with this tax. Let's go to the Class C beneficiaries. They got rid of B. I don't understand, why they just can't move, C up to B and whatever, but this is New Jersey. Class C, if you have a brother or sister, half brother or half sister, wife, civil union partner, or widow surviving partner of a son of the decedent, or a husband, civil union partner, or widow surviving. And those are the rates of tax. You're looking at, if you have a $1 million estate, only the first 25,000 is exempt, right? Which is really a small number. So you're getting hit pretty hard, pretty early. And, I'll give you some examples later. It shows how regressive this tax is. But it's something you have to be cognizant of. Then we have Class D, next slide, which is, just about everybody else. So I hate to tell you folks, if you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, you love each other, you bought a house together, and you're not married or civil union or domestic partnered under the old law, you're stuck in this category. They consider you unrelated, you have no relationship, and as a result, you're paying these tax levels, which are really, really high. We have a Class E, which is sort of, I call it the nonprofit group. While almost all 501c3s count, there are some exceptions because the State Bureau of Charities has to recognize, the group as a charity. So I'm not going to read all the things there. I'll give you handouts, or you can get a copy of my presentation later, so you could actually look at the work. And next slide, there are some kind of strange things here. There's some people you would think should be Class C beneficiaries, but they're not. They're considered Class D beneficiaries. That's stepbrother or stepsister of the decedent, husband, wife, civil union partner, domestic partner, or widow, widower, surviving civil union partner, or, blah, blah, blah. They're all there. And when we get to some practical examples, which I'm going to do next, you'll see, just how this impacts. So let me go to some practical examples for you. This case is one of my clients and a neighbor. Two sisters inherited their home from their parents. They, neither is married, neither had children. They lived in the family home forever. And come a couple of years ago, the one sister dies of cancer. And the home is worth about $500,000 date of death. In North Jersey, that's not a lot of money for a home. It's a fairly modest home. And her tax bill was $27,500. I think she almost had a heart attack when she was told she had to pay that. So you can see, no one was expecting that. Two sisters, they just go to some, friend of theirs to do their taxes, and nobody told them about this bomb that could go off. So, it's really a very, very regressive tax. So the next example, okay? So one spouse had a previous marriage with children and has grandchildren, and that spouse passes. The second spouse has no children of their own, wants to leave assets to the stepchildren, step-grandchildren. Well, the stepchildren, there's no tax. The spouse of the stepchild is considered a Class D beneficiary. Step-grandchildren are also a Class D beneficiary. That's the highest tax rate, First $750,000 is 15%, the rest is 16%. Pretty high tax. And my last example is there's a a parent dies, and they're the last to survive. The spouse had predeceased, and let's say the child, is gone. They're friendly with the daughter-in-law. They're friendly with I'm calling daughter-in-law, I should say spouse-in-law. And that person is a Class C beneficiary. So if they actually left the bequest to their grandchildren instead of to their spouse-in-law, there would be no tax. Otherwise, they're a Class C beneficiary. There are certainly ways, if you look at the next slide, there are some ways to make plans on this. There are ways around it, but you have to be aware that this tax exists, and there are ways of using trusts, life insurance, making sure the deeds of property are held in the proper way with rights of survivorship. There are ways around it. It's not like it's a definite, you're just going to get clobbered. But you need to be aware, and most people are not. And the most people who are not are people who don't have significant assets and don't go to an estate planner or talk to an accountant, a knowledgeable accountant about these things. Getting your taxes done is important, and going to somebody you can rely on is important. But the most important thing is you really need professionals who are talking to each other. And you need an accountant talking to the lawyer, talking to the financial advisor. They need to work hand in hand. Many in our community are still not 100% behind the whole marriage thing. We don't want to be like the straight couple, relationships. We want to, we're unique, we're whatever, but laws are still written for families, quote unquote families. And to be families, you really need to be married. Now, you don't have the option of the civil union or domestic partnership anymore. You can no longer, you're either single or you get married. Those domestic partners and civil unions have been grandfathered in. I don't know how much longer it's going to last, because I think those groups are going to be made at some point to either get married or lose their special status. In 2018, when the legislature and governor, in a bipartisan way, decided to get rid of the New Jersey estate tax, we also thought this tax was going to be gotten rid of. It is not. So while estates in New Jersey are not subject to the estate tax, you still have this. So what your relationship is what determines this tax. So that's the end of my presentation. I have my information here. I have handouts if anybody is interested. I have a copy of our PowerPoint. And I'm welcome to answer any questions that you might have. Are we doing it now, Stephanie, or should we do it at the end? Sure. Okay, let's go back. Can we go back a few? Yeah, I'll repeat the question. In this specific example, we'll pull it up first. Let's keep going. Okay, that's the very first example. So, okay, that's the one, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So why is that? Because siblings are not considered Class A beneficiaries. So if your parents are leaving the house to the two siblings, you got to do some planning once you inherit the house. There's no tax from you getting the house, but what you do with it afterward is what's important. Yes.
Any other questions? Over there.
Oh,
hold on.
Hello.
So the last few years, I've had to deal with the passing of my mother and then passing of my father, and they were not even close to that $11 million mark. But the amount of work, even with proper planning, was still very difficult. I strongly encourage everyone to have a will, truly. And then in my own family, so my husband is non-binary and I'm asexual, and so we've been married for 28 years. But we talked about this way before people, even like when we were in our 22, and we were like, we need a will no matter what. Having that will, I'm going to tell you, whether we're straight or not, it really makes life so much easier for those that have to deal with your passing. I really, I don't know. I mean, I've dealt with 4 years of management, death, and changes, and you need to have that will. And then we have a large amount of people that are in the domestic partnerships and the civil unions, and they're just not even thinking about having a will. And I'm just like, you need that. You need your wishes for when it's end of life. You need everything written down and have a lawyer do it, so it is not questioned when you're going to the hospital. So I just wanted to say that, just from personal, what I've been dealing with for the last couple of years. Just get your affairs in order, even if you won't even need to use those affairs for 30 years. Thank you.
And if you do a will, there's nothing wrong with you updating your will as you go along. So, once it's done, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm glad I answered all your questions. Thanks. Keep an eye on this when you do your planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I truly believe that this topic is really crucial, especially when it comes to bridging the generational wealth gap. A lot of people don't even know about it, never mind that they have to plan for it. I remember when John and I first started talking about the topic, I was just really shocked how much the government can rob you even in your death. So thanks for that, John. Next up is Pete Catabiano. He's the CEO of C-Suite Impact. Just give you a little background of who Pete is. He is a tenacious business development executive with over 20 years of experience generating growth across diverse portfolio organizations in industries such as retail, technology, and regulatory compliance training. He's demonstrated expertise in leading process improvements to drive operational transformation by people, diligence in customer experience, and cultivating both internal and external relationships. He has a track record of entrepreneurial success, consistently scaling revenue, and has earned multiple recognitions for delivering exceptional performance. So come on up, Pete.
Thanks, Stephanie. Can you make that bigger by any chance? Can you make that a little bit bigger by any chance? Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me today. I'm going to just go over a stages model we use when we're first sitting down with the clients. It's up here on the screen. If you can't see it, I know Stephanie has a copy of it she'd share with everybody. But every business, and this has a lot to do with financial literacy, so this is why I use this slide. But when we sit down with a new business and we're about to engage with them, and we put fractional CFOs, sometimes they're called part-time CFOs, into small to mid-sized businesses that are scaling and growing. So what this slide represents is any business from startup all the way to high growth companies, so really large companies as well, and all the waves of emotions that you go through as your business is growing and developing, and you're becoming a part of a community. And that's what the small business owner and the entrepreneur does. So you can see the wave of emotions that they're going through over time. And each one of the blue columns you see there is a wall that every business will hit. And it doesn't matter what type of business it is or where it's operating or the people in it. That first wall often represents a gap in skill. And what happens there is you become, you start investing in your people. And you're getting the right talent in place. And you've heard it a lot of times this morning throughout the speakers that we heard. Value your people, what they do, why they do it, and what they bring to the table. And so they're investing in people, but they're also getting working capital for the business as well. And they get over that first wall, and then they go into the growth mode. And the growth is great because you can see it's good times. There's payback for all your hard work. You're enjoying life. But then growth also comes with a lot of pain if the infrastructure for your business isn't there as it should be, meaning you don't have the right kind of investment in growth and in skill. So it continues to grow. Business owners don't understand why their profits have, their revenue's grown, but their margins have shrunk. And that's the next wall that a business will often hit. And it's the people that are in place, there's a gap in skill. So it's investing then into, and it causes, you can see stress is on there. So then it causes the business to really have a lot of challenges, because there's a gap in skill. So by bringing in that gig worker, which is what we do, we're going to close that skill gap and help accelerate the business. And then you get over that second wall. And then one of three things happen. Very advanced growth, and that's where mergers and acquisitions come into place. There's, plateau, so the business just sticks with the status quo. And then you'll see, the number 5 on the slide there is decline. And when we see a decline in a business, it often has to do with, the next generation coming in, no succession planning, or just no plan for the business where it's going to go, and that's where we'll see them decline. So being able to, make sure you have the right people in place, the right processes in place, and making sure those people are skilled is what's going to help the business succeed. So that's, what I go through every new client. I go through this model to identify where they are so we can pinpoint what their needs are and then be able to help them with those needs and help them continue to grow their business and eventually take it to exit or, merger and make it bigger. And that's pretty much what we do at C-Suite Impact with our CFOs that we put into businesses. So happy to take any questions, or I know we've got a few speakers coming up.
Any questions?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So my question is just on how much time usually is a part-time CFO?
So, when we engage with a client, we'll leverage the talent that's in place. So, the bookkeeper, the controller. If the talent's there, we'll provide that financial leadership and discipline. So we're in the business long term. So we'll become their, everything, that the business needs. And we become the leadership for the finance and accounting function. So, you can't put amount of time on it because that accounting and finance function, what often we see happens is companies don't see it as a profit center. They often see it as a cost center. And we flip that on its head. And when we engage with the business, we take it in small bites. These CFOs are coming from large companies, and now they're working with a portfolio of clients. So we become that function for them when it comes to accounting finances. We don't get into taxes, but we help them with tax planning. So when it goes to the CPA firm, they've got a streamlined, good, clean information that can get things done. So to say, how long is the time? I mean, I started the company with 2 other founders in 2020, and our client retention's a little bit over 2 years. So, we're in it for the long haul. We embed ourselves in the business. So I don't, honestly think there's a time commitment to it. If we're doing good, we just continue the engagement and help them grow in a sustainable way. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right.
Thanks, Pete. I think that what you guys do is super important, especially as most companies, like my small firm, we can't afford a full-time CFO, but the presence of one, and to your point, the leadership is extremely important and can definitely impact growth. So thank you for the information. Next up, I'd like to introduce Jessica Viato, who will be on our panel next. I kind of wanted to give her bio before she's up on the panel. Also, I apologize, your name is spelled incorrectly. There's 2 T's in your last name. So Jessica is the Vice President with PNC Bank. She's also a Certified Women's Business Advocate with PNC. She specializes in treasury management, serving the central New Jersey region. As a Treasury Management Officer, she takes a diagnostic approach with each client to better understand their business and their specialized needs. The process review discussion is it drives the firm's performance by delivering insights gleaned from the client's own data and extensive industry knowledge. As the industry's digital transformation continues and PNC's platform evolves, Jessica looks forward to educating her clients and providing exceptional customer service. Jessica has worked in the financial services industry for over 20 years. In addition to her current work with PNC, she has held various positions at First Union, Wachovia, and Wells Fargo. She started with PNC in 2011 as a relationship manager in business banking and transitioned over to treasury management in 2016. During her time at PNC, she's received various awards, including Circle of Excellence, Market All-Star, several times Market All-Star, and Sales Excellence in 2018. She was also honored in 2017 as a top 25 leading woman entrepreneur, or intrapreneur. Jessica takes great pride in the work she does with PNC to promote diversity and inclusion, particularly women in business. She founded the New Jersey Market's Women Connect Employee Resource Group in 2014 and served as president until 2019. She currently remains active in Women Connect today with her role as national advisor. She is also presently the Supplier Diversity Chair for PNC's New Jersey D&I Council, where she's been an active member since 2014. Outside of PNC, she actively serves as the president of the NHV High School Board of Education. She is a board member and Funds Development Committee member of the Girl Scouts Heart of New Jersey and has been since 2020. So thank you for being here, Jessica. And our next presentation will be a team effort with Alex Mickler and Melinda Tartar of Northwestern Mutual. As a financial advisor for Northwestern Mutual, Alexandra Mickler works with individuals, families, and businesses nationwide. Her goal is to help them achieve their financial goals. Alex brings a passion for helping people and backs it up with knowledge and tools needed to protect what is most important to her clients. Alex graduated from Florida Gulf Coast University, where she earned a business degree specializing in hospitality management. In addition to working on her degree, she was also a student athlete and played on the FGCU women's basketball team. Alex's enthusiasm for basketball and her love for teamwork continues to this day. After graduation, Alex held a variety of positions in the hospitality sector. The common thread was working with people and helping them. Alex's personal and career goals naturally led her to join Northwestern Mutual, a company known for their leading financial solutions and always putting their clients first. Alex lives in Wellington, Florida with her husband, Jeff, and her 2 daughters, where when she isn't helping people achieve their financial freedom, she's making memories with her kids. And Melinda is a wealth management company financial advisor. She assists individuals and businesses nationwide in achieving their financial security through comprehensive planning and diverse strategies. After receiving her bachelor's degree from the Pennsylvania State University, Melinda began her career in real estate, where she managed portfolios with an emphasis on mass international commercial appraisals and acquisitions. She joined Northwestern Mutual in 2018, transitioning into wealth management and individualized planning solutions. She is a member of the Rising Women of Northwestern Mutual, her local Chamber of Commerce, the Marble Women's Club, it's a hard word for me to say, and most recently joined her local and state legislators in developing a curriculum for high school students around financial wellness. Residing in Northeast Ohio with her St. Bernard, Melinda enjoys traveling, spending time with her family, meeting new people, and never living the same day twice. So come on up, ladies.
Should I turn this off? Hi. Sorry, let me get organized here. So Alex and I are, there we go. We are what's referred to as comprehensive financial planners. So today we're just going to do a brief overview of what that means, where we fit in the financial sector, and what we in Northwestern Mutual do for our clients. most people's financial picture looks like this before we get involved. Many pieces that are scattered, disorganized, and sometimes even misplaced. Our goal is to create something that looks a little bit more like this. We do that by collecting all those pieces and building a comprehensive plan so that we can very easily assess if any pieces are missing, duplicated, or just taking up more space than what they should. So that process of bringing everything together is called building a financial plan, right? So if you don't remember anything else today, just remember you don't plan to fail, you just fail to plan. Thanks, Benjamin Franklin. Shout out to him. But seriously, having a financial planner means that even if something goes wrong, you can approach that situation knowing that you have planned for it, and more importantly, you're not alone. So we walk our clients through a 4-step planning process. First, discovery. That's where we're learning more about you and your goals and collecting all those pieces. Next, recommendations. We're going to be looking at those overlapping pieces or gaps and finding solutions for them. Implementation. Anything that we can implement and manage for you, we do, but just as importantly, anything we can't do in-house, we're going to walk alongside you and whoever is implementing it throughout the entire process. And finally, relationship. This is really important. It's important that you like us and we like you because it's going to be a long haul otherwise. We meet with our clients regularly to reassess what they have in place, make sure that it's still relevant, and make sure that if we need to make any changes, we're doing so. So what type of recommendations might we make? First, we're going to be assessing anything that puts you, your family, or your business at risk. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if you're always going to be healthy, if you're always going to be safe from injury, when you're going to die. But trust me, if we did know those things, our job would be way easier, but we don't. And because we don't, we are constantly calculating and weighing the true opportunity cost and financial impact of something happening. And if that cost is too great, we are going to protect it using one of these solutions listed here. We're also going to be looking at your accumulation of wealth. Basically, where are you saving money and does it make sense? What's really unique about us being comprehensive planners is that we're integrating this risk management with your wealth accumulation. And so some of these solutions that are listed here, like annuities and life insurance, can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, they can build your wealth while simultaneously protecting you. Another area where this wealth accumulation and risk assessment is married is in retirement. We're working with clients in the accumulation phase, but our ultimate goal is not to tell you how much money you need and when you need it by, and then when you get there say, cool, don't call us and good luck. We also want to work with you in that distribution phase and make sure that as money is coming out, we're assessing, again, the things that make that part of your life more challenging. Obviously, being sick or passing away is a risk no matter what age you are, but there are unique risk factors to consider when it comes to retirement planning, and Northwestern Mutual is aware of these jeopardies and simultaneously creating solutions to help offset them as much as they can. So again, the earlier that we can start implementing some of these, the better off you'll be so that we can protect against these risks. Another implementation step that we might make or recommendation would be working hand in hand with your estate attorney to make sure that what we're doing and what they're doing is complementary and not opposing. I always tell my clients, your money is going to go one of 3 places when you pass away. Someone you care about, a nonprofit you care about, or the government, and it absolutely does not go in that order. So it's really important that we know what they're doing and that they know what we're doing so that everything that you have is passing to the right person at the right time and the right way. We also work in business planning. So specifically, if you are a business owner, we can manage your business benefits, we can manage your retirements, your other assets, but also we work really closely with our business owners' employees. the reason why this is important is I can't tell you how many times I have sat down with someone and they don't know what they have through their work or how to use it. It's an incredible value add to be able to say as a business owner, hey, not only have we put these things in place for you, but we're also going to connect you with someone who can help you understand what they are, how they work, and how to use them. So that's a big part of what we do in business planning as well. So what do you get when working with us or other financial planners? Mostly us. Yeah. So you get a partner. Again, you know, the important thing here is to know that your financial advisor should be someone that you plan on working with for a long time. And if they're significantly older than you, or you know, vice versa, you know what their succession plan is, because again, it's really convenient to not have to move all of your things all the time. But you also get access to Northwestern Mutual's best-in-class products and services. So I'm going to let Alex talk a little bit more about why Northwestern Mutual is different than other companies and why we've partnered with them.
All right. So let's just make sure. All right. Thanks, Melinda. So now that you've heard about our process and kind of our mindset as far as planning, I just want to talk about, Thank you. A little bit about the company that stands behind us, and that is Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual has been around for over 160 years, through the Great Depression, 2 World Wars. I mean, it's been around a long time and it's not going anywhere. As a company with that much history, it's still making moves forward. So like it has AAA ratings from all the 4 major credit rating agencies. And in 2022, Northwestern Mutual announced a record-breaking $6.8 billion of dividends to be paid out to the policyholders, which is almost three times the amount of the nearest competitor. So all that to say, financial stability is not an issue with our company. All right. But so why do we partner with Northwestern Mutual? Well, obviously, the financial stability, absolutely. The products are amazing. I fully, honestly stand by them. But there's something else to consider, and that is Northwestern Mutual's corporate culture and the commitment to social responsibility. You need to know that the company you work with is, in line with your core values. From 2015 to 2021, Northwestern Mutual earned a perfect score on the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index, which is a primary indicator of a company's inclusiveness of LGBTQ people. Since 1992, Northwestern Mutual has been at the forefront of transgender underwriting. So just to give an example, we offer a product, a long-term disability product. Underwriting acknowledges and rates a client as the gender they identify as and not the gender that was assigned to them at birth. So all that to say, the stance they take on social justice issues is important to me, and it's important to our clients. We have a 97% retention rate with our clients, so the numbers do speak for themselves. Let's see here. All right. Okay, like Melinda said, working with us is that you are dealing directly with us. So we aren't directing you to a 1-800 customer service number. When you have a problem or there is an issue, you're calling our cell phones. You are reaching out directly to us. So that being said, here is our info, and we would love to, hear from any of you with any questions. We will be outside with our table and booth, and there is a lovely gift basket going to one of you. If you could just fill out the comment cards, give us a little feedback, and one of you will put it in the Dropbox. And yeah, absolutely. So with that, I will conclude. Any questions for both of us? Yeah. Mostly Melinda. All right.
Thank you both. Really important topics, and I mean, luckily, I mean, I've known Alex for 20 years, but what is also cool is that I became her client about a year ago. You know, I didn't understand a lot of the ways that I could basically mitigate a lot of the risks that I had, and as well as a lot of the topics today. So it's really important for people to at least know that these things exist and that these things are topics that people should really pay attention to and focus on. So thank you both for that. And we will shift over into our panel discussion. So if the rest of the panelists can come on up, that'd be great. Jake, can you grab John? Just wait a minute as Jake goes to track down John. So today we're going to talk about financial literacy, and a lot of the questions are going to be directed on like how to mitigate a recession. And we're here to talk about how these concepts have collided into our professional and also our personal lives and gather thoughts from 5 different perspectives. So just a quick comment before we dive in, and also while we're waiting for John. We'll reserve a few minutes at the end of the discussion for Q&A, but if we run out of time, of course, you do have everyone's contact information, and if you want to contact anybody, you can also contact me and I can do an introduction. Again, I'm Stephanie Locker, and I'll be moderating the panel today. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our amazing panelists, and I really appreciate you all taking your time today. So as we wait for John, I will kind of have the rest of us kind of kick it off. We'll just dive right into the topic, and I'm going to ask each panelist to just do like a little brief introduction. I know you did your bios, but kind of like who you are from your perspective to remind everyone. Let's start with Jessica.
Hi, everyone. Oh. That's a loud mic. So I'm a Treasury Management Officer for PNC, and my job is to provide value-added solutions to assist my clients, and which will ultimately, hopefully, lead them to run their business better. I work with companies' teams to consult, educate, and provide technology-based solutions, and the solutions that I provide are adaptable, customizable, and they're ready to meet your present needs as well as future needs. Our platform is ever expanding, so basically the technology that we provide allows you to, I like to say, bring your receivables in faster and take much longer to make your payments, and hold on to your money for longer than to make the most of the time that you have with it.
That's great. And so when you heard about the topic today, what were your first thoughts?
As a Treasury professional, my first thought, financial literacy and recession-proofing your business is risk. And what is your company's tolerance for risk? Fraud is at an all-time high. I see it just about every single day. I have a client who has been compromised in one way or another. Counterfeit checks are still out there, unauthorized debits. I see the heads are shaking, credit card fraud. It doesn't matter the size of your business, the geography, the industry, or even the sophistication of your business. The bad actors and the fraudsters are out there, and they're going to war against your business. Fraud isn't about whether or not it will happen, it's about when and how and what the effect will be. So when I think about financial literacy, I always start with risk and your tolerance for risk and how you can protect your business against being compromised.
Great points. Pete, would you like to kind of do a little intro of yourself and then also tell us about your business and how you help companies?
Sure. So Pete Caltabiano, back in early 2020, I founded a company called C-Suite Impact, and basically we're everything that serves the small to mid-sized business owner. And we do that in large part with fractional CFOs. These are gig workers, as they're known. The gig economy started in 2008.
and it kind of hung around for a little bit, but then the pandemic happened and the gig economy just took off because the market was flooded with all this talent because of layoffs, redundancies, furloughs, and the list goes on and on. But what we quickly learned, and this was not by design, I just, right place, right time, is that there was a tremendous amount of talent out there that could serve the small to mid-sized business owner. And I define small to mid-sized, anything from a startup to 100 million in revenue. And now we're putting these high caliber CFOs into companies that are, don't have any kind of financial literacy or any kind of financial discipline. And now they're taking what they know from large business, because they would have come from these large corporations, and they're working with a portfolio of clients, and they're working with each other to collaborate, with clients. So one CFO will help another CFO. So we've got that think tank of knowledge that's helping businesses grow in a sustainable way, and we build them to succeed. Even if they don't have an exit strategy or even thinking about exiting, it's our belief that a company that's built to exit tomorrow is a well-oiled machine, and anything that comes its way, like a looming recession, they'll be ready for. And that's just a little bit about my company. And then I guess the question, if you want me to answer that, I'd piggyback off of what Jess says, is it's managing your risk, because it's out there in many different ways, shape, and forms. But also it's identifying, where the opportunities for your business are by having, the talent in place to help you really understand how to move the business forward. Oftentimes during a recession, and you see it happening now, how many companies are laying off right now? Yeah. And that's a clear sign that it's already here. But how many companies are taking that talent and utilizing it in a way, not just on the sales side, because everything seems to be focused on sales during a recession, but I said it earlier, investing in your accounting and finance function and seeing it as a profit center and not a cost center is so key during these type of times, because you're able to do cash flow projections, and then they don't pan out because you don't know what's coming your way with the recession. So you know what? At least you have some kind of projection based on previous year's forecast that you can understand why you either didn't meet a budget or you exceeded the budget, and then just creating that type of mentality within a business is so key to us.
That's great. Thank you. And Alex, I would love to know a little bit more about what Northwestern Mutual does for diverse individuals specifically.
Well, that's a great question. Whoa, that is a loud microphone. So I am Alex Michler. It's nice to meet all of you. That's a great question. What can we do for Northwestern? What can Northwestern Mutual do for diverse individuals? And honestly, there's a couple different ways to look at that. From a corporate standpoint, just having that inclusive camaraderie, and Northwestern Mutual is a multi-year sponsor of Out and Equal Workplace Summit, which is the largest conference in the world in the LGBTQ community, and it focuses on just equality in the workplace. So just doing things like that, and just as I mentioned before, even where they are in the transgender underwriting process, that's sort of in one aspect, on kind of the more corporate aspect of what they do for a diverse individual. But on more of a personal note, they really, in my opinion, what they do for really everyone is pour into their advisors the education, the tools, everything we need to really understand our clients, and we ask the right questions because of the training we've been given. So I think that just having, anybody can have a product, but having somebody that cares about their clients kind of sets us apart. Just to give a little bit, like a personal example, I have an old teammate from back in my basketball days. Her and her wife sat down with me. They were all set. They had been with an advisor, really just wanted to get a second set of eyes on what their portfolio kind of looked like. And when we looked farther into it, there were some gaps that were not obvious, and they weren't, to anybody else, they wouldn't have been such a big deal. But historically, women live longer than men. So when you're planning for your retirement and your future, those kind of little individual things need to be taken into consideration. And often when, you're kind of in that box, everybody's sort of put into it, those things get overlooked. And so there's a lot with diverse communities and people and individuals that need to be kind of taken, you take a step back and you ask the hard questions and you really get to know the client. So I would say that on a more personal level, it's the advisors that kind of have been trained well to answer the questions, like ask the questions that need to treat individuals as individuals and not kind of fit them into that mold, if you will. So that would be
That's a good description. My next question was for John, but I think he got lost, so we'll move over to Melinda.
I could be John.
Well,
I could be John.
Yeah, good point, actually. Let's see what you guys, maybe Pete will take it.
What we might not.
That's true. I was going to ask him specifically, like, what he's doing to help his clients kind of prepare for the recession. So if there's anything really specific that you guys are seeing, or even like, specific questions that people are kind of, I do see people are kind of freaking out, kind of to your point, Pete, on the gig economy. Yeah. That's definitely shifting as people get nervous.
I can just briefly answer that. Oftentimes decision makers within businesses make decisions on gut. And during times of turmoil, that's probably the worst thing you can do. So make decisions based on data, on math, and put any decision you make, or just make sure that when you make a decision, you're using data and information in order for that to happen, rather than your gut. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a bad place.
That's fair. I think the overall theme I'm seeing from all of you is really that mitigating risk by planning and being really proactive. So that's great.
Yeah,
all right, so Melinda.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go for it.
I think you were going to ask me, like, gaps, right? Is that, because...
Yeah.
Okay.
My next question for you is going to be on the gaps and what you're seeing with financial wellness and
Yeah,
people you
so
deal with.
just because it ties into literally what every single person has already said, same thing, real risk management is unemotionally calculating what the impact of a loss would be to you or your business, and mitigating that loss, or at least bringing it down to a comfortable level. And I think people have a really hard time stepping out of a comfortable situation and recognizing how uncomfortable it is to actually be somewhere where something has happened and now you're trying to backpedal and put a solution in place in arrears versus doing it before you need it. So again, just obviously very common theme here, whether it's a recession or not. That's the other thing is, understanding that it's not when the market will drop, or not if the market will drop, it's when the market will drop. It's not when, when you get there trying to make a decision on how to handle that. It's knowing that someday it's going to happen, and you have to have a plan in place to handle it before that day comes. So putting things in place before you really feel like you need to is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself. And so everyone that's freaking out right now, it's probably because they never talked to anyone about what to do when this happens, and now they're here. And again, they're freaking out because they've never talked to anyone about, hey, I know that at some point the economy is going to restrict. I know that they're going to be reducing cash flow. I know that at some point interest rates are going to go back up. I know that at some point the stock market will go back down. Do I have something in place to offset that before that time comes, even if it doesn't feel like it's doing the best as everything else that you have? Put it in place before you feel like you need to.
Awesome. And welcome, John. You sent the search party. I'm glad they found you. I had already asked everyone else the question that I was going to ask you, but now that you're here, I'm going to ask you as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your firm and kind of what you're doing to help businesses and people plan for the recession?
For a recession. Well, the most important thing that we can do is to work in tandem with, as I said, the investment folks, a legal team, that the person who's handling the legal affairs of either of our client's business, or the their funders. I mean, accounting has now become so much more complex and really needs to have the interaction of everyone. For a recession itself, you want to make sure that your companies, your businesses have, adequate liquidity, have adequate, markets, see how sensitive the markets are to, recession. I have some clients who, they're in a specialty business and they're going to do just fine, even if there is a recession or there's a downturn in the economy. There's others that are totally sensitive to it, I can tell you firsthand, the dry cleaning businesses just died during the pandemic. You were all working at home. A lot of them really couldn't survive. And that same thing to do with, some of the entertainment, industries, restaurants and the like. So, there's so many things you can do as an advocate for your clients' businesses. And that's what we try to do. We try to help them. I have a big client now that is trying to develop a piece of land in one of the more challenged areas of Patterson, and getting all the tax abatement programs and doing their applications and making sure that they can get funding, if not from a traditional source, from a government source. So there's a lot that we do today as accountants that are not what we used to do 10, 15 years ago.
Thanks, Sean. The next question I have is regarding financial pitfalls, and I'd like to kind of hear the different perspectives from all of you. So the question is, what are the most common financial mistakes that you see people from your different perspectives? Alex, you want to kick it off?
Melinda, kick it off.
Yeah. So I think I'm just going to be the only one answering this one from the two of us. But
we think alike.
Yeah.
Whatever she thinks, I think.
Yeah. I would say there are two. One is waiting. Most people are, for whatever reason, thinking that there's going to be this perfect day that they just wake up and they're like, today I'm getting my life together. There is not going to be a perfect day, but there is going to be an unavoidable day. And if you wait until the unavoidable day, it's probably too late. Something has happened that is now pushing you to find someone, and that puts us in the really difficult position of sometimes having to say, there's nothing we can really do now. This just is what it is. Or trying to, again, just figure things out. So waiting, please don't wait. Again, do it before you feel like you should, because it's important. The second would be a one-size-fits-all mentality. One size absolutely does not fit all. I appreciate that there's a lot of general information out there, but what is really helpful for one person and their business or their personal plan could actually hurt someone else. And so, shout out to Dave Ramsey and TikTok and whoever else is just generating and pumping information out there. But you are an individual, and your needs are unique, and it's really important that you talk to someone who looks at your situation specifically and helps you put unique solutions in place that you need, that again, someone next to you might not need.
I think we all read the same book before we got here, because the answer that I prepared actually was the most common pitfall that I find is lack of planning.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, and as even to echo what Pete said, business owners it's a knee-jerk reaction. They haven't thought through the what ifs beforehand. They're much more, they can be very reactionary instead of proactive. So one of the things that we strongly recommend when we're meeting with clients, or when I'm meeting with a client, is what's your plan? We typically visit our clients or try and have those in-person reviews once or twice a year, where we go over goals, plans, what if this happens, what will the firm's reaction be? If this doesn't happen and the merger doesn't happen, or where does that leave the firm? So we're always looking to work, do so much more than just the cash management functions, but really know what businesses' plans are, because it's the most common mistake. Like you said, there's lots of times I've had to give the answer as myself. Now we have to react. There was no plan.
For us, it would be just lack of financial information, and then trying to play catch up when the time comes, because there's a requirement for that financial information, and so now we're on the back foot, trying to put information together again to make decisions based on financial reporting, and by not having that in place, and then all of a sudden you're in a place where you need it, because the bank, you're going to violate the covenants on we can tell that story over and over, and so that is probably the biggest pitfall is when that information's not there and it's got to be created, and then oftentimes it's too late, and then that's worst case scenario, and so it's just understanding that stuff is there really to help you run your business better and it's a tool, and that you should use it to your advantage.
Don't want to echo everything, but from a different perspective, I find the hardest thing with my clients is just sharing information and helping them plan for their future. I'd say on the personal side of doing tax work, about 25 to 50% of the people just drop off an envelope and whatever, and you sort of lose the ability to help them plan, as everyone has talked about. They often come to you when there's a crisis, and they're making a lot of money, and they know they're making a lot of money, but they're not thinking about that tax bill at the end of the day, and how we can maybe plan to lower that. So I find that lack of with all the communication we have today, clients are still a little bit leery about sharing information, sharing their goals, sharing their plans for the future. And if I could say one thing, it's that talk to your professionals openly and candidly, because we can't help you without it. So.
Great point. Thank you. Now, if we step back and picture like the best case scenario, where do you see companies, essentially, like where do you see them really falling short, and individuals, and what can we start doing, and in addition to the planning and the really being proactive? And anybody can answer that question.
Well, I think the biggest thing is to, people have to constantly reinvent themselves when they have a business. Everything is changing so dramatically, from the way we function, the way we do business, the way we communicate. The most important pitfall you should count on is the fact that things are going to constantly change. I'm sure Hallmark and Kodak have a very different business plan than they did 20 years ago. It's just a constant changing world, and I think we have to be able to adapt to it, not just market conditions, but just the way we live our lives. I don't think any of us saw what a potential of a pandemic could do. I didn't. I don't. And I'm older than most of the people on this panel. I've never seen anything like it and how it affects, our business community. So you have to be able to adapt. And a lot of people, the successful businesses, were the ones that could adapt, under these crazy conditions. And there will be other crazy conditions, natural disasters. I don't think we're going to see an economic collapse like the 1930s or even the 2008 financial services collapse. But, because there are safeguards within our economy to make sure that it doesn't become a total mess. But I think you have to be adaptive, and you have to be creative, And you have to, as they say, communicate with your professionals.
And I would just say value your talent. And if it's not in place, you know, do what you can to help skill it up. And if you can't do that, then go out and seek it, whether it's in a full-time person or a fractional person. And then the other thing is don't be afraid to pivot. You know, the companies that got through the pandemic are the ones that pivoted. And don't be afraid to do that. It comes with a cost, but it also comes with a reward.
So we're back to echoing each other's thoughts again. And the one recommendation is that I would have is communication, and surround yourself with a team of experts, and be open to their suggestions. It's great to be surrounded by a really good team of experts, but it does you no good if you're not open to what they say. And being open to communication, being open to ideas that are different than your own, different points of view, it won't recession-proof your business, but it'll help you because you're with those trusted advisors, and they've got your back.
Basically the same answer as everyone else, but one thing to add that we talked about, Alex and I, is again, delegating it. But if it's not your job, if it's not what you're getting paid to do, you should be doing your job, the thing that you do really well. You have to partner with people who do their job really well, and like Jessica said, let them do it. I have clients that are, they have a dental practice, and sometimes when I'm asking them questions, they'll apologize and be like, oh, sorry, we don't know. And I'm like, I don't clean my own teeth. I don't even know how many teeth I have. That's not my job. I trust my dentist when I go there to take care of my mouth. And in return, it's because it's not something that I'm good at, and it's going to be a waste of my time to try to figure it out. So if you are going to put people in place, like Jessica said, let them do what they are in place to do. But you also have to find them and make sure that you trust them and that you know that they have your best interest at heart.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
As far as Melinda, to kind of ask you an additional question, kind of bridging the gap, how do you integrate personal financial planning and business planning?
Yeah, so obviously it is really nice when we're working with a business on their business plan and this business owners on their individual plan as well, because that saves them the step of having to re-inform someone of everything, and it's a lot easier for us to recognize any gaps, and we have all the information, it's pooled and shared together. But ultimately you can't really separate yourself and your personal plan from what you're doing in your business, especially if you're a business owner. So, and if you're not a business owner, whatever the business owner is doing, again, is relevant to you. So even if we don't manage it, we absolutely assess it. And so bringing in all of that information, again, into one place where someone can see it can be really helpful. And we work sometimes together as a team with other advisors, and again, with their business attorneys, their accountants, whoever it is that we need to get in the room to make sure that everything is being addressed. So that's on the business side and on the personal side. We do both. We assess both, even if we don't manage both.
Great. So I know we have only a few minutes left, so maybe we want to jump into the Q&A if you guys in the audience have any questions to anyone up here. Stephen.
No, I don't have a question. Yeah, I do have one other thing to say, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Just because this is the one answer we didn't all repeat. And this is like a weird tagline, but truly, like, you should like your money like you like your people. Diversified. Diversify, diversify, diversify. There should be 4 different levers that are being hit with your money at all times, and 4 types of diversification: liquidity, tax, risk, and transferability. So understanding how those 4 levers are being hit by something that you have, again, whether it's on the business side or the personal side, that will help mitigate a lot of what we've all talked about here in the risk side, is just understanding what something is doing for you. And again, it's really hard, like in 2020, it was really hard not to look at something that's quote unquote overperforming and be like, man, I should move more over to this. But but there are other assets on a balance sheet that we might be looking at and saying, this doesn't look like it's overperforming, but it is hedging against something that could happen, and it's important to still have it on your balance sheet before you feel like you need it. So diversity is a very good thing in the workplace, also in your finances.
Excellent. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time today. I really loved hearing about the different perspectives from each of you, because I think that provides just a lot of value to kind of holistically look at everything and complete the package, or at least in my mind. So, and also I wanted to say that we're going to be having more of these as far as financial topics. We're going to probably do a series in 2023. So if you can all, if there's any topics we didn't cover today, or if you want to hear something in more depth, if you can just let us know as we kind of build that curriculum, that would be great. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to have the last speaker for the afternoon. Thank you so much for participating in the breakout sessions today, and for hopefully making new connections with different organizations, and of course, our photo opportunities with Miss America 2023 and Out 100 baseball player Brian Ruby. So if you can all just give me a few more minutes of your time, I'd like to bring out the president of the New Jersey Pride Chamber of Commerce, Stephen Blazewski.
All right, hello everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. So I want to take a few minutes, just thank everyone for being here for this historic event in New Jersey's history. And when we first brainstormed this idea with Garden State Equality, we really didn't know how it was going to turn out. But let me tell you, the LGBTQ and allied community in New Jersey is very strong. You all showed up once you figured out that we're not the Rita's conference on the other side of the building. And, you know, thank you again for being here. We really appreciate it. So we're excited to make this event even bigger and better next year. So if you had a great time and you learned a lot of great information, please tell your friends. Let them know that they missed out on a great event today and that they have to be here next year. So I know we can at least double the amount of people that were in this room, at the very least, if everyone tells a couple friends. So that's your homework, please. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to be telling you about the fabulous parties that are going to be happening later today. But a few housekeeping items first. So as you can imagine, renting out a conference center in the Borgata in the middle of the League of Municipalities is not cheap. So I want to give a minute to thank our sponsors. And please give a hand to our lead event sponsor, Comcast. Because without their investment, this event truly would not have been possible. Let's also give a shout out to our lunch sponsor, MeetAC. Woo. And of course, thank you to Insider NJ, ROI NJ, Out in Jersey Magazine, and DGNL for all of your support. So we're here today to celebrate our community and support the advocacy work of organizations like Garden State Equality and NJPCC. And the best way for you to continue to support is to keep showing up. Donate to Garden State Equality, join NJPCC as a member, and by coming together, we're showing the state of New Jersey that the LGBTQ plus and allied community are important, and we matter. I think it was Beyonce who said, "Who won the world? Gays." She said that, right? So with all that said, NJPCC, we're hosting our first annual gala and awards dinner on December 1st. That's a Thursday, and that's at the MC Hotel in Montclair. If you haven't been, it's a beautiful venue. It overlooks the New York City skyline. There's going to be a lot of great entertainment, dinner, open bar. I'll say that again, open bar. So if you haven't already purchased your tickets, please, we'd love to see you there. We're going to be honoring some amazing community advocates and our businesses who have done great work throughout this year. There's also posters out in the front. You can scan the QR code. That'll bring you to the registration page. Okay, now the fun stuff. So after parties, get your pens and notepads ready because there's a bunch. So from basically about now until around 5:30, you can stop by the B Bar in the Borgata, where our member and certified LGBT business enterprise, St. Luna, is going to be serving up cocktails with their famous charcoal filtered moonshine. So if you haven't tried that, it's very delicious. Go give it a try down at the B Bar now until about 5:30. 6 to 8, we're joining our co-hosts, Garden State Equality, for their mixer at Nola's Bar and Lounge at the Ocean Casino and Resort. St. Luna is going to be there as well, and Tito's will be serving complimentary cocktails. So again, complimentary, I know how much we like that. And finally, from 8 p.m. until whenever the night ends, please join NJPCC and our media partners, Insider NJ, as we will be co-hosting one of the largest mixers at the League of Municipalities. So that's at Cuba Libre in the Tropicana. So again, just to recap, now until 5:30, B Bar, Borgata, 6 to 8, Garden State Equality's mixer at Nola's Bar and Lounge at Ocean, and then from 8 o'clock on, Insider NJ and NJPCC mixer at Cuba Libre in the Tropicana. And thank you all so much for attending, and I hope to see you all at these after parties. Thank you. Feel free to, feel free to mix and mingle. We have the room until 2 o'clock. And again, get your pictures with Miss Elaine and Brian Ruby. Thank you.